トビデオ
Older than time itself, man has always known the calling. Light of the light, strength of the soul, ignite this eternal power inside of me. I am Ninja!
The late 20th century in American pop culture truly belonged to the ninja. A byproduct of the martial arts movie craze of the 1970s, people in the West could not get enough of the concept of the ninja. The idea of a one-man army wrapped head to toe in cloth taking down entire complexes of people with the power of magic spells and exotic weaponry proved to be super compelling to American audiences in the 80s and 90s. This idea of ninja infiltrated all facets of popular culture, from the movies to the TV to the video games. If you grew up during that period, there was no doubt that there was nothing cooler than a ninja. But it wasn't just America who was feeling the draw of this mythologized ideal of a warrior spy from the Sengoku period. The ninja was also a figure of intrigue in its home country of Japan. After Futaro Yamada introduced the modern idea of ninjas as these superpowered, almost supernatural beings in his 1959 novel The Koga Ninja Scrolls, that mythic idea of the ninja has never gone away, especially in the late 20th century. Both Japan and America were having their own ninja crazes that fed off each other in loving symbiosis for many years to come. And from this, we get a lot of ninja anime. With the premiere of the 1985 film Dagger of Kamui, it was almost seen as a starting point for the modern ninja anime. Ninja Scroll, Wrath of the Ninja, Ninja Resurrection, Rantaro the Ninja Boy, Jubei-chan the Ninja Girl, and all of them, both East and Western ninja crazes, would eventually coalesce into the big dog of the genre, Naruto. And while the ninja is still an archetype to be found in both Japanese and American media, it still pales in comparison to late 20th century's amount of ninja nonsense, which was also an anime. Today, we'll be looking at a ninja anime from the pre-Naruto era, one that was better than I expected, but not by much.
Find her. Find the Byakuro princess if you have to turn over every stone!
In the olden days of feudal Japan, two ninja clans were locked in an endless war with each other, the Byakuro and the Kabuso. One night, the Kabuso staged a successful raid on the Byakuro's castle stronghold, slaughtering many of its clan members, foot soldier and elite guard alike. However, they ultimately fail in the true goal of their mission, capturing the infant princess of the Byakuro clan. She is instead spirited away just in time to parts unknown, where she will be raised as a ninja warrior under the noses of the reigning Kabuso. Cut to many years later, and we see the Byakuro clan training a group of young ninja cadets, all of whom have their shared rivalries and relationships with one another. It turns out that it's final exam time, and that their last task to complete their training is invading enemy territory and capturing one of their magic scrolls to prove themselves worthy of becoming bona fide practitioners of the ninja arts. But rival members of the Kabuso clan are hot on their trail, not only to thwart the mission, but also recapture the Byakuro princess who is said to be among the cadets. Could it be Yume, the kind pacifist who'd rather be a loving wife to her master Kaoru than a ninja?
Oh, Kaoru, I really truly don't care at all about the test. I don't want to fight.
Could it be Matsuri, the loudmouthed, scantily clad Kunimitsu with a deathly fear of frogs?
This is really fun. Yeah.
Or could it be Sakura, our main protagonist?
But I'm sure the one that has the most power is the best of all. You know, like the treasure of the royal family.
Does it really exist?
I guess not. Probably.
When given a passing glance, 1996's Ninja Cadets appears to be nothing more than your typical filler OVA. A modestly budgeted affair built to maybe net the studio and the producers some extra dosh to fund bigger and better projects. A means to an end and nothing more. And after watching it, I would say that you are halfway there. But even if there were super cynical motives to making an anime like this happen, that still doesn't change that there clearly was some ambition behind it. In fact, knowing some of the people in charge of making this anime, I would even say that there was some franchise potential for Ninja Cadets. In another world, this could have been Naruto before Naruto. But in this world, where normal things happen, Ninja Cadets today is merely a thermometer that allows us to gauge how people saw ninjas in the OVA format in the mid-90s. But that's still something worth making a video on.
Well, you got me.
Do these cadets have what it takes to move up rank, or should they be busted down to basic? Let's find out, shall we?
Huh?
Hey, everybody!
What? What's wrong?
Shall we have some tea?
Ninja Cadets is a 100% wholly original creation born from the mind of one Eiji Suganuma. We don't really know much about Suganuma as a person. He's one of those numerous semi-anonymous personnel in the industry who hasn't really been given interviews or time to talk about his career. All we have are a list of credits and a sporadically updated Twitter page to go on. But if you do look at his credits, you definitely will learn that he was, and still is, an incredibly talented animator. He animated the amazingly choreographed final fight scene in Pat Labor the movie. He animated the effects-heavy climax of Fatal Fury the motion picture. And what do you know? He animated some of the most iconic shots of the first Naruto opening. And he's still animating to this day, doing some spectacular cuts for series like Baki the Grappler and Dr. Stone. He's in his 60s and he hasn't lost his step one bit. By the 90s, Suganuma had also become a recognizable character designer, helping define that specific 90s look alongside other influential creators like Masami Obari and Takehiko Ito, both of whom he worked very closely with on projects. In fact, since those guys were big wheels in the industry at the time, I would say that Suganuma's connections with them helped him get a blank check from Studio Yomex to create a creation of his own, a passion project that could potentially launch a franchise. Thus, this is my theory that led him to become the creator, the director, the scenario writer, the character designer, the animation director, and a key animator for Ninja Cadets. This OVA was practically his baby and his baby alone. Unfortunately, this is also the only original creation he had a hand in. But on a brighter note, it also helped kickstart his career as an anime director, directing works such as Lupin the Third Part 6, the 2013 Josei anime adaptation Carnival, and Kodomo no Jiken, an anime about a 9-year-old elementary school student who wishes to seduce her 23-year-old teacher. I could potentially do a video about this anime, but doing so would risk bringing back the absolute toxic discourse that anime predictably brought into this world in 2007. It would make the discourse surrounding the Monogatari series look like level-headed negotiations. But onto the anime itself. From a technical perspective, this is the product of a truly talented animator in the field. The very first thing we bear witness to in the anime is this immaculate ninja raiding party, storming the castle with a complicated mech before individual armies of ninja speed through the halls and ambush the soldiers before they even have time to get their swords out, all of which is done in a cinematic black and white style. That's just a taste of what we're going to get out of Ninja Cadets animation-wise. Despite looking pretty average from a budget standpoint, all the characters shine when they are in motion. Suganuma and his team really know how to make the money work for them when it comes to animating some elaborate action scenes. The climax of the first episode mostly consists of a long chase scene where the titular cadets are leaping through the trees, taking down a growing assortment of summoned monsters and beasts along the way. This builds towards Sakura and her guy partner Pochi having to fight both a giant spider and accursed spirits at the same time, which in turn leads to a climactic battle against a Gyuki where all the cadets take it down by using their specialized techniques. But I don't want to make it seem like this was all courtesy of Suganuma. Credit also needs to be given to art director Nobuhito Sue. Despite having some limited locales, he really makes those locations feel straight out of a work of art. Especially in the second episode where it begins with Sakura and Matsuri running through a field at night while sparring with each other, and the whole scene is dominated by the color red to symbolize that the journey towards the final battle is beginning to heat up.
Sakura, this will be our final battle.
I'm looking forward to it.
But as much as there is great artistry to behold, even that has imperfections. Namely, Suganuma's character designs. They don't look too bad if you haven't seen much anime from the 90s, but if you're like me, you do notice that the designs of our cadets feel a little derivative, especially Sakura. Suganuma should bow down and kiss the feet of the god of lawsuits because it is a goal-darned miracles SNK didn't take his ass to court for cribbing Mai Shiranui's design. Specifically, Masami Obari's Mai Shiranui design. Actually, on closer inspection, a lot of the character designs feel like more conservative Obari designs. Just get rid of the blatant fan service but keep the weird anatomy and penchant for over-designing. And when I mean over-designing, I mean
Our mission is only to capture the Byakuro princess. I really don't need you to make things complicated.
Millions of Americans each day try to brush their teeth with bombed-out brushes. Amazing!
Good lord, honey! Get some Garnier and a hairbrush. Tame that beast! Japanese voice acting is good, of course. Nothing really that noteworthy to point out other than Sakura is played by Hiroko Konishi in one of her early roles, way before she'll go on to voice Bridget in the Guilty Gear series.
どうせなら質の高いいいやつがいいわよね。そう、王家の秘宝。
And Jame and her big hair are played by Maria Kawamure, who is basically doing a more cold, subdued version of her Naga the Serpent voice.
こいつにも協力してもらおうか。これからは我々のために働くのだ。私の言うことは絶対だよ。いいね。
But the real interesting bit of trivia is this. The dub is actually an important piece of history in anime localization, as it is the first dub produced by future Burbank voice acting powerhouse Bang Zoom Entertainment. And since this is a Burbank dub, we get to hear a lot of the stars of Saturday Morning. Sandy Fox.
What did you say? Didn't you happen to notice I just saved your life, Matsuri?
Mona Marshall.
Kaoru said that we'd be allowed to keep any scrolls that we can find, didn't he?
He sure did.
I wonder just what kind of power those scrolls have.
Derek Stephen Prince.
Then that's enough talk. What the hell are we hanging around here for?
And one of the first voice acting gigs of Michelle Ruff.
It's okay. If I don't pass, I'll just be content to become the wife of Kaoru.
But this being the first Bang Zoom production, it is also the worst. This is, in fact, their first rodeo dubbing anime, and there are rookie mistakes abound.
Our mission is only to capture the Byakuro princess. To protect the Byakuro princess.
Apart from that, the craftsmanship on display really did make this anime a whole lot better than I thought it would. So it's all the more regrettable that the story of Ninja Cadets confirms my worst prejudices I had going into this anime. Ninja Cadets is one of those productions that got caught by bad timing. As I've gone over multiple times, the second half of the 90s is littered with promising OVA projects that fell to pieces somewhere along the line. Ninja Cadets was one of those projects, and even if everything went swimmingly for the series, that doesn't make the existing problems contained in this narrative magically go away.
What?
First, the cast is banal to the max. I've seen lukewarm bowls of oatmeal with more flavor than this cast of characters. It's like Suganuma thinks eye-catching designs can replace hollow characterization. But aside from the rivalry between Sakura and Matsuri, which gets dropped by the end, and the romance between Yume and Kaoru, which only gets one scene of note, there's nothing that really defines this cast apart from good ninja or bad ninja. The characters feel more defined by their abilities rather than their actual characterization. But this ties into another problem I've had with this anime, and it's probably one of the gravest sins an anime could make. We are led to believe that, while the eponymous cadets move as a unit, the protagonists at the start are going to be Sakura and Matsuri. They're the first ones given a proper badass introduction, and the first ones to have a character dynamic established. In the first episode, they're the ones who get the most screen time out of the whole group. So it pains me to reveal that, in the grand scheme of things, these two don't really get that much to do action-wise. In the first episode, they do have their moments, but only when they're working as a team with the others. But in the second episode, both Sakura and Matsuri get sidelined while their male partners do most of the heavy lifting. Matsuri in particular basically does not get any real combat action past the second episode's cold open, and is reduced mainly to a shrieking comic relief that her partner Hayashi has to drag along. Sakura, meanwhile, barely has time to get her sword out before Dork Boy Pochi kills steals from her for most of the runtime, and when she actually does get to fight, it usually results in her jobbing and having to be bailed out by another male character. Because of this dynamic, we don't get a good idea of the full extent of our female lead's abilities like we do with the male characters. Pochi can transform into beasts using magical scrolls, and Hayashi is a gunpowder specialist. Meanwhile, Matsuri spends most of the final battle unconscious after fainting upon seeing Pochi take the form of a giant frog, and Sakura doesn't really get to do anything noteworthy until she gets her paws on a magic scroll that's the in the anime now jutsu.
I'm gonna kill you!
However, I think if things had worked out differently, maybe there would have been a chance to fix things, but for Ninja Cadets, that moment would never come. Let's take a look at the structure of the entire plot. A group of junior ninjas have to go on a quest to infiltrate their old stronghold taken over by the enemy to become real ninjas, and along the way, enemy ninjas try to thwart them. Simple, easy to follow plot, but it needs something to spice things up. Remember that Byakuro Princess plotline? Well, Lady Toothbrush the Toothbrush and her goons aren't just there to be obstacles. They are specifically there to capture the Byakuro Princess and bring her back to their lord, whom, spoiler warning, we don't actually see in this anime, even though we're set up for a later reveal in the prologue. Ignoring the question of why they're doing this now of all days, it does raise the stakes and gives us a mystery plotline to keep the audience hooked. So, who is the princess? At the start, it seems to be set up that Yume is the Byakuro princess. After all, she shows zero fighting acumen, seems to have been forced into the role as a ninja, and only wants to be a loving wife to her teacher. But as we go on, we learn that Sakura could actually be the lost princess, and that's because she has a cross-shaped scar on her left shoulder, that mark being the only intel the Kabuso clan have to suss out who the princess is. But that scar is not a birthmark, and is actually a mark Sakura received when she was getting into one of her many squabbles with Matsuri. And since Yume left the scene when the Kabuso ninjas are spying on the girls, it looks like we're being set up for a case of mistaken identity. But there's a clear shot of Yume's left shoulder to show us that she doesn't have the mark, and the final spell that Sakura ends up casting that destroys the entire stronghold and wins the day is stated to be a spell that only the Byakuro princess can use. So who really is the Byakuro princess? The answer is... I don't know! The anime ends before it can actually give us a clear answer for that plot point. Yes sirree, we got ourselves in a similar situation just like Ayane's High Kick and Ninja Resurrection. An OVA stopping before its planned story can actually be finished, and it stops at the worst possible moment as well. By the end of the second episode, both Yume and Kaoru have been hypnotized by Madame Chimney Sweep into doing the Kabuso clan's dark bidding. But there are hints that they might be retaining some control. Do we ever see them break out of that spell? Nope, they vanish soon afterwards. Miss Wirebrushhead launched into God knows where once Sakura casts her spell. And Sakura? She doesn't know if she's the Byakuro princess, so all she and her friends can do right now is go home. Credits. Once again, we have to theorize what went down to cause this anime to remain unfinished, and it's probably the most likely story. Low sales from the outset gave the producers cold feet, and they decided to cut their losses. And while Suganuma did land on his feet again, he would never shepherd another project, and it would be over a decade until he got to direct one again. And that's okay. It's clear Suganuma's strengths lie in animation and design work, not storytelling. While he definitely made Ninja Cadets a better looking anime than it deserved, it was a fruitless endeavor. It was always going to be held back by flat derivative characters and a story that's only supported by a barely developed mystery and lame predictable comedy. Ninja Cadets' place in history shows us a woebegone genre. If a lighthearted Kunimitsu-helmed romp can't make it, and the darker, bloodier variety of the story can't make it either, what hope did the ninja anime genre even have at that point? Kishimoto might have been a bigger savior to a genre than initially thought. You look pretty, Ninja Cadets, but sadly, that could not save you from the wrath of the buyer's market. You wanted to graduate, but C's do not get degrees here. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video or want to support this channel, please donate to my Patreon. Each dollar can give you early access to my videos as they come out, as well as keep the channel running a bit more smoothly. You can also subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, or just like this video. Either way, you'll be helping me out. That's all for now. See you for the next round of tapes.
How to identify varieties of mushrooms? This is useless!